lecture of the Roma Lecture Series on the theme of participation and empowerment of Roma community in public policy. Today, we have very eminent speaker with us is Nikolay Kirilov from Bulgaria. Nikolay, he is an activist and policymaker for Roma inclusion at different levels of public administration. For the last 3 decades, Nikolay has been at the forefront of developing, managing, monitoring, evaluating various programs, initiatives, structures in a different aspects of Roma inclusion and empowerment. He has been associated with several community development initiatives in partnership with the local administration and local government. Nikolay was a former chairman of a municipal council in Lom, Northwestern Bulgaria, and was the first director and one of the founders of the Center for Educational Integration of Children and Students from Ethnic Minorities at the Ministry of Education. He has been a part of a number of initiatives for Roma inclusion in Central and Eastern European countries. Nikolay has been awarded with the Theodore Hughes Prize for the promotion of democratic practices in Europe, and he authored and co-authored many publications and reports on capacity building programs, Roma inclusion, and different aspects of Roma communities, the challenges and issues faced by the Roma community. He got the specialization for policy designing and implementation at the University of Washington in Seattle in the Center for Continuing Education and Public Information, Misinformation on the Distinguished Humphrey Scholarship Program. So today, the lecture aims at getting around to the initiatives, programs, policies with regard to the inclusion of Roma community. As you may be aware that the Roma are the Europe's largest ethnic minority with 14 to 15 million Roma living in Europe. As a large number of Roma people live in a very poor socio-economic conditions in almost in every European countries. The Roma issues are still unsolved. The social exclusions, discrimination, and segregation they face are worsening their plight. Their restricted access and limited access to education, difficulties in entering the labor market lead to the low income and poor health as compared with the non-Roma people in Europe. So here the public policies come to the fore. Since 1990s, European Union has been emphasizing the need for the inclusion of Roma in Europe. European Union launched a key program with the adoption of an European Union framework for national Roma integration and strategies up to 2020, with the aim to tackle the socio-economic exclusion, socio-economic situations and exclusions and discrimination against Roma. European Commission adopted a new strategy for 2021 to 2030 for Roma equality, inclusion and participation, encouraging member states to adopt a strategic framework for the inclusion of Roma communities in the mainstream. The social and public policies concerning the Roma in Europe is drawing attention and prompting debate and discussion on the intent and action of the governments for improving the life of the community. So our speakers will tell the outcomes and results of these European Council initiatives and programs and frameworks, as well as the initiatives and actions taken by the government, the local government and a national government in different European states. So, and the European Union policies and programs for the Roma community. So our speaker will, speak in detail about these, what are the weakness and success and the failure of these initiatives of the European Council and the government, several different the government of European countries. Now, I would like to stop here, and because we are immensely interested in listening to our speaker. But before going ahead, we have with our Secretary General, Shri Shyam Parande ji, Actually, the center has been uh, functioning under his guidance and expert guidance and the support. So I request our Secretary General and to welcome the guest as well as to his valuable remarks. Sir, floor is yours. Thank you.
Namaste and good evening, good afternoon, and good morning, because there are audience from various parts of the world. I welcome you all on behalf of Antar Rashtriya Sahayog Parishad as well as Center for Roma Studies and Cultural Relations. I am happy that this is the 44th month of our monthly lecture, 44th edition. And this has happened, we could achieve this because of cooperation of all Roma brothers and sisters across the world. The speakers had been from various parts of the world, like Europe, like North America, like South America, and other parts also. So I congratulate and thank you all for this cooperation. Today we'll be talking about a very important issue, Roma intervention, Roma participation in social and public policies. This is a very timely issue. The world right now is undergoing a change, and the challenge now before us is, can Roma community in Europe try to intervene? Roma and Gypsy being the largest minority in Europe, whole of Europe. Can they draw advantage for Roma community? I mean, its education, its health, its social services, and all that Roma community needs now. However, policy intervention happens through policymakers, academicians, and scholars. Unless and until they try to define that and present it properly, understanding the needs and the situation of the community, of the society in general, the public policy will not be in favor of Roma community unless and until Roma scholars intervene. They understand the challenges and problems of Roma community better than the larger society. And where and how they can make the countries and the Roma Union, European Union, take up these issues, connect with Roma activists and organizations, and through them create awareness amongst the Roma community so that the benefits of these policies reach to the last Roma in the whole of European Union and various countries. Of course, Central Europe and Eastern Europe has larger concentration of Roma society, and their human rights are also suppressed many a times. So it is the educated class amongst the Romas as well as the scholars who have empathy towards Roma issues from mainstream societies in various countries can join hands so that policies are properly defined and then enacted. Ultimately, development of Roma community has to happen. It's more than 1,000 years of migration. And to say that Roma community still languishes in the underdeveloped classes is something that pinches us, that pains us. On the other hand, I also wish that some of the NGOs from Bharat, India, can also stand up to support Roma community in various ways in their pursuance of success, education, health, and whatever that might be. India is rising, and in course of time, India and Europe will be coming together, it looks like. There will be better trade, there will be better cultural relations, and this is an opportunity for India also to intervene and try to help Roma community over there in whichever way possible. With that in mind, I also appreciate that we have a scholar, a politician, and an activist speaking to us today, Mr. Nikolay Kirilov. I welcome him especially, and I'm sure that his speech will be enlightening and helping us understand how the Roma community is intervening in policy making and how will it help the Roma community in general. I appreciate Mr. Kirilov and also welcome everybody else who are attending this lecture. Thank you very much and namaskar.
Thank you very much, sir, for your valuable remarks. And now it's time for our speaker, and I call upon and I request the Nikolay to deliver his lecture and speech. Mr.
Yes.
Nikolay, the floor is yours.
Yes, thank you very much. It's my pleasure that I was invited and I was given chance to me to present my vision, why we are here, why the Roma are in this situation in this moment, and to try to give the overview of the policies regarding the Roma in the last maybe 100 years, because I think that the policies that was developed in the last 100 years affect the situation of the Roma that we are in the moment. It affect the context that we are operating now. I divide my presentation in, if I can say, in three main lines. One is the first line is the general information, maybe you are familiar with. The second is some model of discrimination across Europe. And the third part, I'm going to try to be more specific regarding policies that affect the Roma life now in this moment. I'm going to refer to policies that was designed and developed in the last 50, 60 years that affect the situation of the Roma. And I'm going to try to link with what we should do now. Do not make the same mistake, because I think that is very important we to be familiar with the strategic documents, we to have the same understanding of the strategic documents that the international and national policy maker are developing. We should be familiar and we should be aware for the level of the participation of the Roma community, the level of the understanding of the majority, because I think that this is very important and this is very key, and this is key for the effect of the design and develop policies on the moment when they should be implemented. Okay, thank you again for the participation. I'm going to start, and please interrupt me when something is not clear. Come with question on the table, and I'm ready to, based on my practice and based on my experience, I'm ready to try to give to give some information based on my knowledge and my experience. How you say the Roma community is the largest ethnic minorities in Europe? Is between 10 and 12 million officially. Non-officially is between, it's up to 16 million. Usually the Roma face barriers in education, healthcare, employment, and housing. For us, the active participation in policy making is key to sustainable inclusion. Based on the research and the studies of the World Bank, the Roma the Roma community is the youngest working population in Central and Eastern Europe. Over the 40% of the working youth population is from Roma community, and I think that this is key and this is very important, and we should use this like a very strong weapon on designing future economic policies, because the better future for Roma, I think that is better future for Europe, because if you invest in the Roma youth, this is going to develop the future labor market across Europe, and this is very, 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 very important. I want to underline some barriers for participation. This is the structural discrimination in education, jobs, health, and housing. Later on in my presentation, you are going to see some legislation that affect this part of our life. Social inclusion and anti-Gypsyism. We are facing very strong demonization of the Roma community in the last, especially in the last 10, 15 years. The propaganda, the disinformation against the Roma across Europe is very strong. This is used from the nationalists and from the fascist groups in across Europe to demonize and to to build the whole anti-Roma and anti-Gypsy strategies regarding the Roma. And of course, very, very serious barriers to participation is the institutional challenges and lack of trust. It's, for example, in Bulgaria, there is not a single Roma in key political position and key decision-making position. I think that this is crucial and this is very important. The empowerment dimension, individual empowerment, it's a lot of people that they're trying to improve skills, education, and confidence. A lot of people are putting efforts in community empowerment, Loma-led organization, and a network building. And of course, we should thanks to the private donors, to the embassies of the different countries, and of course to the EU, because they design and develop a project to support the Roma in the, especially in building the individual skills, to improve the education, to support the Roma-led organization. I think that this is very important. It's very few chances and possibilities to develop and to support the Roma institutions across Europe. The only one good example that we can share is the building the ERIAC Center in Germany, that is support from the German government, The area cultural center is dealing with the Roma culture, Roma history, Roma language, and I think that this is going to play more and more important role. But we cannot share a lot of example that the EU private donor that is supporting the building the Roma institution across Europe, and this is very important, I think, for the supporting the Roma community. The mechanism for participation until this moment is the mainly consultative bodies. Usually we have the ministries, the different level of the administration is building consultative bodies. Unfortunately, in main on some of the area and some of the level of the administration, it's very formal. You know, they are not very active. The Roma are not taking serious part, and then through this body they cannot be influenced the decision making in local, regional, and national level. I think that this is very important. The main instrument for participation for the Roma community across Europe is the participation in the Roma NGOs. This is very few Roma counselors across region, and this is very important. And the only one chance is to participate in the NGO activities or different activities of different parties and friends. Okay, the good practices that we can share. This is the European Roma strategies. Have you know, after the democratic changes, there is a free decade of the EU intervention regarding the Roma. They try to change different, there was social inclusion, Roma participation, and different decades. Across Europe, we have a Roma decade, but the political meaning of the Roma decade was not to support concrete initiative regarding the Roma, but this was political act to push the government from Central and Eastern Europe to recognize and to say publicly that there is a deficit in the policies regarding Roma. And this is the good practices that we share. And of course, there is some localities across Central and Eastern Europe that we have good governance, that they're willing to work on Roma topics. They're willing to work in the problems that is affecting the Roma community. And of course, this place should be underlined. And you know, this is a very good example that we should study very well why this is possible on these places, in another places is not possible. And I think that we should pay attention to such kind of places. Okay, what is one of the policy recommendation to this part of the presentation is to strengthen the Roma representation. I think that this is absolutely very important to ensure the participation in the Roma community, because how I say, the Roma participation on this moment in different level is absolutely not adequate. Of course, we should continue to invest in the education and the leadership. We have we can report that we have very good achievement in the educational sphere. But if you make a study, and there is a lot of studies that demonstrate that if we want to reach the level of the majority in education on this stage, the Roma programs and policies, we need, in addition, 100 years to reach the level of the minorities. But this is in the case if the majority stop to develop. This means that we still have to do a lot in the level of the education, a lot on the level of the leadership to reach or to come closer to the level of the majority, and this is very important. We should not stop, and we should fight constantly against to combat the anti-Gypsyism and anti-Romanipe. We should fight against the demonization of the Roma community, and I think that this is absolutely crucial and important. We should improve the capacity of the Roma-led organization to monitor the policies that is affecting the Roma community, because I think that this is crucial and this is very important. And maybe you are going to understand why this is important in the last part of my presentation, when I'm going to go in details regarding the different policies in Bulgaria that was affecting the Roma community. And of course, we should build alliance with the non-Roma communities, because I think the strategic partnership is important to reach certain level of the success on different sphere, and I think that this is very important. I like the distinguished speaker that you give the floor, Mr. Anwar, that he said that it's very important to improve the cooperation between India and Europe, and I think that we should stress the topic of the Roma, because I think that the better life of Roma in Europe is better relation between India and Europe, and I think India is going to play more and more important role in the world, because you have better and better you have more and more important role in the world of sphere of the economic, of the new technology, of the development or something like that. I think that you can play very important role, of course, in the development of the Roma community. Here I'm coming to the second level of my presentation. I try to give some model of discrimination in different countries. If you see here, Bulgaria is not here because I'm going to be more specific in Bulgaria. You have assimilation policies. You can see this is happened in whole Central and Eastern Europe. This is forced settlements, banning the Roma language. Of course, this assimilation policy is not affecting. This is not model just for Europe, to be honest. This happened with the native in US and the native in Australia. You know this model and this example. I'm not going to go in deep about this. The segregation policies regarding the segregation community segregation schools restrict access to public service. Still, we have this problem. The youth Roma are not let to go to the swimming pool, to public places, to the swimming pools. They cannot develop business in the center of the cities. The segregated schools have a lower level of the education. This is absolutely very important, and we should stay very strong against these policies. This list and this presentation I'm going to give, and this model I'm going to send to the organizer, and you to have and of course to use these resources. The genocide, we should refer all the time to genocide. Have you know, during the Second World time, 50,000 Roma was murdered, and I think that we should not stop to speak about this problem, because the racist voices are increased across Europe. The nationalistic policies are increased in the last several years. Anti-Roma, anti-Gypsyism, demonization of the Roma is increased. There is the same statement like the Nazi policies from the Second World time. The whole middle class of the Roma community was murdered during the Second World time, and I think that this is very important, and we should stay very strong on this, and we should push more and more and more and more the national and the international institution to recognize the Roma Holocaust, because maybe you are familiar that after 40 years, when the Jewish Holocaust was recognized, the Roma 50 years after that, the Roma Holocaust is still not recognized in some of the countries. And we should be aware about this, and we should push all the time about this, because I think that this is very, 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 very important. You know? Okay. Now I'm going in the third part of my presentation. And in this is the policies that are staged on integration. I put in brackets assimilation of the Roma politician in Bulgaria. And I'm going to pass through the whole these policies and directive of the government, because I think that this is going to give you better understanding why we are here and why the Roma population are on this situation in the current moment. Okay. In 1947 in Bulgaria, the authorities promote the law of the labor mobilization of the such kind of community of the Roma. This was the forced integration of the Roma community in the labor market. The main the main aim of this program was not the Roma people to be integrated in the labor market, but they to lose their style of living and their mobility, and this was very important for this was forced integration of the Roma community, and this started in 4047. Uh, During the 1560s, large part of the Roma have Turkish Arabic names, and there was on this time there was a policy of to Bulgarize the Roma community. They start the process of changing the names of the Roma community. I don't know, and we should, and the whole aim of this policy was the Roma to forget their identity, to lose their language, to lose their history, to lose their dignity, and they to be forced assimilate in the Bulgarian society. This happened in three stages in Bulgaria. First of all, they started with the Roma. Later on, they changed the name of the Turkish population in Bulgaria. They changed over than 500,000 people. They force changed the names, and they try to change the name from the Turkish Arabic names. They to have Bulgarian name. Okay. Uh, in 47, the literacy of the Roma minority began. Okay, the general idea was to increase the educational level of the Roma. In the beginning, this was very good idea to develop a schools situated in the Roma communities and near to the Roma communities. In the beginning, in 1947, this was absolutely very important, and because the illiteracy around across the Roma community was very high, and in the beginning, help these schools help to the Roma community to start the literacy of the Roma community to begin, and this was very important in 97. But later on, you're going to see in the 60s, just to move on the 60s, and I'm going to go back. Uh, in the 60s, just to find where it's exactly about the schools. Yes, in the 65, the Ministry of Education, they changed the policies regarding these schools. They decide in the schools that is situated in the Roma community, in the schools that is situated near to the Roma community, the main focus is to be the labor market, not to be the educational achievement. On this moment, start the process of the segregation of the Roma schools. This was the moment when the level of the educational the level of the education of the Roma community of the Roma children start to decrease, because the focus was not to have high educational result, but the focus was the Roma community to get some profession and to be forced integrated in the labor market. I think that this is very, very, very important, because this changed the educational level of and this changed the educational integration of the Roma community. And when we're speaking that the Roma kids are facing and the Roma community are facing problem in the education on this age, we should be aware that this process starts not now, and this process is not the policies from now, but this process started in 1965, and this happened not just in Bulgaria, this happened in the whole region in Central and Eastern Europe, because they start to build the segregated schools. In the beginning, this was good idea, how I say, because this increased in general the educational achievement of the Roma kids. But in 65, they changed the focus of the education. Oh, I'm not going to go in the about the nomadic life of the Roma. You are going to have these documents and to read. I'm going to go in something very important that is affecting the Roma community now, and related to the kids and to the children. In 1961, the Bulgarian government start to build a new policy to organize a special children's homes. And the main, how to say, most of the children in these homes was the Roma kids. The main idea was the Roma kids to be taken from their homes and to be put in this home. Just to give you example, according to some research, in 1975, 145 schools was set up in Bulgaria, and over than 10,000 Roma kids was taken from their families, and they was put in these schools. In these schools, in these boarding schools and houses, the Roma kids was forced to forbid, and they was forced do not speak their mother tongue. They was forced, they forced do not study in the main educational system. They face very serious discrimination. They face very serious, how to say, treatment and bad attitude regarding them. And I think that this is very important. And just see the figures. So we're speaking just in 1975, we're speaking about 10,000 Roma kids that was taken from the Roma families. In 1990s, when the democratic changes come in Bulgaria, when there was a research and they count the Roma kids that they're in the institutions, the number of the Roma kids in the institution in 1990 was around 60,000 Roma kids. These kids, when they study in these special schools, now in the moment they don't have rights to have drive license, they cannot continue their education in the university. They have very low diploma. They can be just integrated in the very low skill labor market. And when we are speaking that now that we are facing discrimination in the labor market, in the education, in the health system, or something like that, we should take in account that this is a result of the 50, 60, 70 years absolute discrimination policy uh, against the Roma community. The worst things in the whole stories that I'm telling now, that behind these policies, usually the politician, they speak that they have good idea regarding the Roma community, but they never ask the Roma community. They never monitor what is the effect of this policy to the Roma community, and this is referred to the last page that I'm going to say. But before this, I'm going to go to the last paragraph of my presentation, the third part of my presentation. From 75 up to 90 in Bulgaria, the Bulgarian government started the policy of the to delete the group of the Roma community. On this time was forbidden to have statistical information based on the ethnic group, religion, and mother tongue. This means that on this stage, the government didn't want to show up that the Roma communities exist at all. The main policy on this time was that such group of people, we don't have such group of people in Bulgaria. This was the main hate lines from 75 up to 1990s. We don't have such kind of ethnic groups because you don't have statistic. They don't collect statistic, they don't report statistic, and they don't monitor policies regarding these ethnic groups. And this is very important because when you don't have statistical data on certain group, religious, ethnic, or other groups, you cannot monitor the public policies, you cannot monitor the situation of certain groups, and this is very important, and we should take in account when we're speaking about the situation of the Roma now. What is the conclusion? And I'm going to add something add here. The empowerment and the participation are key to justice and democracy. We cannot build policies for Roma without Roma. And I think that this is absolutely very important. I'm going to give one example with some of the policy of the UE, of the EU. When we're speaking about social integration, uh, it's very important to know what is staying behind the word social integration, because the EU, they have different understanding what is behind the word social integration. The national government have totally different understanding what is the social integration. The Roma community have totally different understanding what means social integration. What is my problem with these policies? I think that this policy, when we're speaking about the social integration, we're building the stigma around the Roma, because if we have wrong perception and understanding about the definition that we're using in our policies, in our presentation, it's very dangerous. Why is it very dangerous? Because now when we're speaking about Roma, when we're speaking about programs related to the Roma community, we should place this program just to the European social funds. The European social funds is just 3% of the budget of the EU. The main programs of the EU are in the other 97%. But the Roma community is not in this program. The Roma community can be just placed in the European Social Fund, in just in this 3%. But these 3% are for the whole social problems of the whole groups across. In the same time, the Roma community have infrastructural problems, they have housing problems, they have different structural problems that they cannot be placed in the rest of the 97% of the EU. And this is the biggest funds of the EU. And this is why it's very important the Roma to participate and to be underlined, to have common understanding of the definition that we're using, because very often the people who are working on these topics, they're lost in the definition. They have totally different understanding. The second conclusion is that without Roma voices, policies remain ineffective. And I show you 3 pages on ineffective, even damaging policies that was designed from the Bulgarian government from 50 to 90s that damaged the Roma community. They was not effective. They have different aiming. They didn't aim to integrate and to support the Roma community. All the time they was aiming to assimilate or to delete at all the Roma community. And if you follow the whole line of the designing the policy, you are going to have that they have totally different aiming. And for this, if the Roma don't participate and if the politicians don't listen the Roma voices, I think that this is not good, this is not effective, and this is not supporting the community that the policies are designing for. The third is the inclusive governments. I think that the inclusive government is very important, because before this I told you that there is not simple Roma in the key decision making, and I think the inclusive government, that they should design models, practices when the Roma participate. They have the real participation. When they designed models and practices when they're going to empower the Roma community to take part in the designing, implementation, and the monitoring of these different policies for local, regional, and international level. And I'm going to finish with this, that the role of India can be very strong. We should take the advantage. I want to thank you again that you raised this topic about the Roma, because the Roma community across Europe, the Roma leadership across Europe is looking for the political support of India to stress the Roma topic, to put the Roma topic in the agenda, in the to prioritize the Roma topics in the political agenda of the EU institution. And I think that the Indian government, the Indian activists, the Indian politician should see the importance of supporting the Roma, because I think that the Roma can be a very good ally of the Indian government on the negotiation, trading, cultural exchange, and different relation between India and Europe. And I think that this is very important. I'm going to finish with this, and I'm open for the question, because the question and the discussion, I think that is more important.
Thank you very much, Nikolay, for giving a broader view on the public and policies with regard to a Roma community. And you touched upon the different aspects and how the Roma voice is important, the significance of Roma voice and inclusive governance, and the participations in the policy interventions, as well as you also talked about means the position, even in your country, in Bulgaria, there is no Roma person in the key political position and social and public positions. So thank you very much for your illuminating and very interesting presentation and speech. And we came to know.
I sent the presentation in the chat because I think that it's important, especially the last part, to follow the policies regarding the Roma, the assimilation policy, because I told you that we should be very careful, because when we're speaking, especially from the people from the majority, and when we're speaking about what they understand on the word integration, on the concept of the integration, usually the explanation that they're giving is they're speaking about assimilation. Usually they say you should change, you should develop your education, you should do this, you should do this, you should do this, but they never say what is they're going to be their contribution to the integration process. And I think that this is very important, that on such kind of debates, on the political debates, we should build a common understanding of the language that we're using, the terminology that we're using, because the different people, they have different understanding of the words that we're using. The wording is very important, and the understanding of the wording is very important.
Very true, right. So the question, anyone who has any questions, or anyone who wants to make any kind of remarks? By the way, I have the, yes.
Sorry, Zameer. I want just to say something. Yeah, I'm sorry. I want to talk about Kinder der Landstraße. We have another example, like in Canada with native people, like in many other countries. When we want to destroy a minority, we take away the children from the family. And we know what did happen in Canada. They kill a lot of children, then they bury them in the commune hall. So I think it's very important, like what you say about in Bulgaria, to write and to remember what did happen with all these 6,000, I don't remember how much, children who have been taken away from their parents. So very often it comes from religious organization who decide before to integrate, to disintegrate the culture, the language, and everything. So I think that this example of Bulgaria should be written on the historic level. It's very important to remember what did happen and to have a lot of witness who can tell how it happens. So thank you very much for telling us what did happen. It's very important. And I remember der Kinder der Landstraße in Switzerland had to say, to beg pardon to all the families because of what they did, and they recognized they did wrong. So thank you very much.
Yes, they never sorry in Bulgarian government. They even don't speak about this problem. They start with 10,071, and they finish with 60,000 in 1990. You know, And this process stopped in 1996, unfortunately, forcing the Roma kids in the special schools and special institutions. And this is for decades, and they destroyed generation of the Roma youth Roma population. And these people now they're not able to integrate in the labor market. They're not capable to develop to have good families because they was institutionalized. They was forced on these institutions. They was forced to forget the Roma history, Roma language, Roma culture. They was beaten. There was the women. There was happened terrible things to these kids. For decades. This is very important, and nobody excused to this. The Bulgarian government didn't say a word about this.
Can I
Right.
add something, please?
Yeah.
Can I add
Yes,
something?
Peter. Yes, Peter. Go ahead.
Hello to everyone. I'm so glad and happy to be part of this lecture. After the presentation of Nikolay Kirilov, such a deeply report he made, it's very important to know how will be going to be included to be Roma including in the future in a program. Unfortunately, right now, nowadays, in European programs, Roma are not presented. Roma as a group, especially and even in the Bulgarian programs, Roma is not presented. This is a very important point we have to remark here in this discussion, because as said Nikolay Kirilov, to make policy for Roma without Roma is nothing. It's very important Roma to be included. Thank
Peter,
you.
I'm going to go even further than what you say. In the moment, historically, what is happened across Europe, in Bulgaria, in the whole region, in the European level too, is trying. What is happening that they try to delete the Roma ethnic group. They don't want to see the Roma like one cohesion group. They want to see the Roma like social group. We are not social group, and this is my problem when you are trying to define the Roma problems like the problems that is affecting the Roma community like social problems. They are not social problems. We have political problems, we have different problems, and some of the scientists that they're not Roma, some of the institutions, they try to define the Roma community like social groups. And this is this is big problem. We should be aware about this. The Roma leadership should be aware about this. The Roma institution, the Roma alliance, such kind of like this group here. We should stress this question. When you try to put the Roma problems under the European social funds, this is again somehow you try to formalize and to put or to design the image of this group that this is social group, and the problem that's affecting this group. And if we solve the social problems, this group is not going to have problem. This is not true. We have historical problems in Europe. Do not. They should recognize that there was genocide against the Roma. They should recognize that there was genocide against the Roma kids. They should recognize that there was sterilization of the Roma women in Slovakia. They should recognize that there was different assimilation policies against the Roma. When you build the Roma problems are not just staying in the sphere of the social sphere. This is very dangerous, and I think that we should, like Roma leadership, we should be aware about this.
Yeah, just to add something, Nikolai, it's very important. And the main reason to be discriminated to Roma people is that the Roma is not accepted like a part of the society. Always the Roma is accepted like something different, something segregated, something special. This is the main problem. And the Roma leadership should be working in this way just to recognize the Roma people as a part of the society. It doesn't matter which country we are talking about. Thank
Yeah,
you.
for this, it's very important our links and our historical relation with India. And the India should stay stronger on this position. That the Roma roots are from India. And we are not some funny groups coming, I don't know, from Mars or something like that. We have our history and we have our roots. You know, okay, maybe we cut the roots, we change during our way during the centuries, but our roots are there, and you know the Indian government should stay stronger on this position. And this was one of the reasons I to do not to take the agreement to participate on this, because I want to stress this question, you know, because I'm happy that you raised this. I think that the role of India is going to be more and more, and should be more and more and more important on these political debates and this political discourse, because when India start to stay stronger on this, the European institution and the national government are going to speak different. This is the difference between the Roma ethnic group across Europe, because usually behind the Turkish group in Bulgaria, the Turkish roots are there. You know, the Turkish support are there. You know, your relation, historical relation is there. The Armenian, they have their relation. The Hungarian in Romania, they have their roots, their relation. You know, the Hungarian country are staying very strong. Usually, you know, the Bulgarian are fighting for the rights of the Bulgarian in Macedonia, in North Macedonia, you know. And when they speak with me and they ask, Diki, what do you want for the Roma? And usually I'm saying that I don't want nothing more that they want for the Bulgarian in North Macedonia. They want recognition. They want the cultural center. They want the good education. They want the good the equal integration in the labor market. This is what I want for the Roma. You know, in Bulgaria. I don't want more. I don't want privilege. I don't want special position. But I want the equal treatment, you know, and equal chance about this. And I think that this is very important. And the role of India can be much stronger on this topic and this issue.
Yeah, probably our relations with India should be a key to recognize India as our old homeland. Because nowadays some of the Bulgarian people, they send us to India, but we have to make stranger and to make stronger this relationship with India. Because if we know that we have our old homeland, the situation will be different. I think so. Yeah, it's very important.
Yeah, thank you very much, Peter. And I would like to bring to your notice, Nikolay, that present government, even the earlier, that's the Indian Prime Minister Atal Bihari Vajpayee government, uh, that government was that government initiated the endorsement of serious engagement of Roma community with India. At the present government, since the Prime Minister Shri, Honorable Prime Minister of India, took helm of affairs, Indian policy, the Indian foreign policy turned out to be more pragmatic and strategically articulating. And I would like to inform you that the Roma commemorative memorial uh, is being built in Kannauj. Kannauj is one of the cradle point of Roma. Most probably within a month, that memorial is going to complete, and that memorial is being built up by the Culture Ministry, Government of India, and a lot of different initiatives. We are trying to actually Roma movement in India isn't beginning. So we are trying to sensitize the policymakers to our Center for Roma Studies and Cultural Relations, because it is the objective of the center is to promote Indo-Roma relations and sensitize Indians about the plight and situations of Roma and their origin, the origin of Roma from India. So now we are a little bit happy that we are engaging academia in research on Roma community, on a different aspects of Roma community, as well as we are raising the concern and challenges faced by the community in Europe, even the violation of human rights and fundamental rights of the Roma community in Europe. So now this we are trying to even present this community as a soft power, of India, because India, the soft power diplomacy is India is the soft power. So we are trying to incorporate this community in as a soft power. That is also one of the strong pillar of Indian foreign policy. So we have been undertaking a different initiatives. We are expanding our network and we are establishing the interface between Roma community and Indian policymakers and the Indian establishment.
Thank you
So,
very
and
much. I
another
think that,
another point,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I think that what you say is very good, especially about the soft power. But if you take in account that the Roma community is the youngest working population across Europe, and you know the problem with the labor market across Europe, I think that the soft instrument can turn in very strong instrument in the political negotiation between India and Europe. And I think that the Indian politicians are smart in that part and they can understand that they can be their other instrument in the negotiation with Europe built on this relation.
Right.
Mr.
So,
Summer, I think the most important what India can do is to start to recognize the Roma of Europe as an Indian diaspora. That must be the very first you recognizing. And as through reports I am reading right now because of my new project in 2018, Shuma Shvarai and the situation happening in Kanai, she said that there was not enough Roma who this was present to be who was taking associates this. It was not enough to recognize the Roma as a diaspora. So I think this is the main thing India has to focus on, because why do we, the Roma of Europe, have meetings here, Zoom meeting and exchanging experience with India if it doesn't benefit us and only the academia of India?
Yes, all right, Slomia. Yeah, that
Mhm.
is, we are doing and we are, the carrying out lobby for the recognition of Roma as a historical diaspora of India or extended diaspora of India. So we have been, because as you know that there is some legal and a legal means some legal elements involved. However, we are trying and we are doing lobby and we are endorsing that the Roma can be or would be recognized as a historical diaspora of India or extended diaspora. But the second thing, in India, the people of India consider Roma as their brothers and sisters. So that is the most important. Now we are trying to inform Indians because uh, uh, there is a lack of awareness about the community in India. So it is also one of our it is also one of the objective of our institution to inform and make the Indian people aware that the Roma are our brothers and sisters, and they have been dislocated, or they were dislocated, or they migrated from the different northern part of India and the different northern part of India. So we are sensitizing, we are making awareness, creating awareness about the community in India as well. So the center is
Sorry to interrupt here, because the book I am writing now, Summer, it is so important for the community, Roma community all over Europe. Um, uh, the Roma of Europe, they should also know that we have a genealogically register in India, which going back from year 1149 to 2015. And in that aspect, when, sorry, my English is not that perfect, but I try my very best here. When we hear stories like Bulgaria, that this is not only Bulgaria, it's all over Europe. It has happened and it's still happening. When the child welfare protection is taking our children, splitting them up from family and the Roma community, taking away their mother tongue, language, etc., etc. It has gone on since the 13th century in Europe. This is also the time where the children of Europe who get assimilated into the European society, they're losing their families' names. There's only few of us who is lucky who can trace our roots back to India. And I think, Summer, there is a huge problem here because now we have a movement in Europe. There's a lot of Roma people who want to repatriate back to India because of the situation in Europe, which is not getting better, but worse and worse day by day. We hear everybody hear all about the demolition of buildings. The Roma, they are getting hunted from one state to another state. Some of them are stateless. Let me only here telling you about Ukraine. Norway is actually one of the countries who doing something very good when it comes to the Roma community. We are integrate. We are a part of the Norwegian society, and the Roma here is participating in researching programs and all these things. But back to the Ukraine. And we saw that in the beginning.
Slomia,
Yeah.
if you have any questions regarding the lecture by the Nikolay, then we will discuss later in a different platform or in a different lecture. So if you have any questions,
I feel sorry for the Bulgarians. I know that they are in a very, very hard situation compared to other European countries.
any question related to the lecture? Anyone has any question? So my curiosity to know from Nikolay that as you also mentioned in your speech that uh, Europe is getting gray, and the population of even Bulgaria, Serbia, Albania, North Macedonia, Romania, Montenegro, Bosnia is getting old, and that is leading to the leading to the chaos in labor markets in these countries because the population is getting old, and the Roma is the I think it is the Roma community is the youngest and most dynamic in Europe, most dynamic ethnic group in Europe. And the Roma are obviously, no doubt, that they're so enterprising, laborious, and adaptable. So it is going to be shortage of labor, skilled labor, semi-skilled labor in 2050, even in Serbia, in other Southeastern European countries. There are the two reasons. The first, how the Roma policymakers and a Roma activist can capitalize on this, these painful situations, which is going to affect overwhelmingly the European labor market. So, what are the strategies? What are the framework? What are the policies which can be used and employed to actualize the aspiration of the community in Europe and bridging the gap in labor market? How the community youth and the dynamism of the community can be used for the welfare of not only the community, welfare of the Europe.
Okay, thank you for this question. I think that this is very, very, very important question. And this is absolutely very strategic question. We have similar discussion with Peter before, I think a month ago. What we can do to shift the situation of the Roma. And I think that we start to work on this. One is to work unofficial and one is to work official. Non-official, what we can do is that we can we can create a better image of the Roma movement. And this is our obligation, because after the demonization of the last 10, 15 years, the Roma movement is not the best place for the realization. I don't know, is not the best place when the Roma youth to come back and to contribute to the Roma community. And I think that our responsibilities like Roma leaders is to create a good space, good environment, good position, good places for the Roma youth to come back and to work on this. The second level, non-official, what we can do is start to work to build the Roma middle class, because I think that the Roma middle class is going to be the how to say, the pillar of the whole future policies regarding Roma, because without middle class we cannot make any revolution. A revolution not to go and to fight on the street, but I say a revolution of the development of the Roma community, because how I say in my presentation, the whole middle class of the Roma community was killed during the Second World War time, and we need a time to build our middle class. Officially, what we can do in the participation with the government, the European institution on policies regarding Roma community. One of the things is that what we can do is to shift the policies of the EU institution and the national institution, and to link the future generation of the Roma community with the new technology and with the green technology. I think that we should stop the discussion and the debates that we should design and build programs for the Roma for the low skilled labor market. I think that this is our strategic responsibilities like a Roma leadership, is to stop to speak about the low labor skills, the low labor market, because I think that we should not stigmatize the Roma community and to link the Roma community just with the low skilled labor market, because I think that we cannot keep and we cannot push the Roma to stay there. If we want great achievement, if we want great development, if you want new image, and if you want a new positioning of the Roma community across globe, across Central Eastern Europe and across the globe, I think that we should start to speak designing and developing program and policies that is going to link the future generation with the new technology, with the green technology, to give chance they to make a startup businesses, to support their initiative, startup initiative, and of course to support the Roma about their political participation. But they to be prepared for the political participation and to have a real political participation. I think that this is what we can do officially and non-officially. What we start to do in Bulgaria, for example, with group of the people, in the last several years, we start to support the Roma doctors, the Roma who are studying medicine. In the moment, we have 100 doctors in Bulgaria. And this is not state program. This is a private initiative. This is group of the people that we develop support monies and something like that. And now in the moment we can count in 100 doctors. These 100 doctors is going to change dramatically the situation of the Roma families, because they're going to have different vision, different status, different salary, different families, different vision about the world, different contribution to the society, and of course different image in the society. There is a friend that Peter just make a documentary with them, that they start to work with the Roma lawyers, and they just designed 3 or 4 group of the Roma lawyers, and now we have the lawyer incubator in Bulgaria, that we have in Alliance over than 40 Roma lawyers that they start to work in Alliance, and they start to support the Roma community through different line, and this is nothing with the European projects and with the national project. This is private initiative, and we are looking for private supporters who to support us. We start to work organizing ourselves to see what is possible and what is in our hand, what we can design, what we can control. and of course to press the EU institution and the national institution to invest in the right direction, to change the discourse, and when they speak with the Roma, to speak about the right things, not to speak just for Roma like the benefit of the social payment to the Roma, to the poor Roma community, to the, you know, I think that we should support the pride of the Roma, because I think that this is very important. This is going to shift the labor market in the next 15-20 years for sure, because if we build the middle class, if we build the Roma doctors, if we build the Roma lawyers, you know, they're going to come together. Normally, they're going to take part in the, they're going to start to participate in the political life, because it's not possible to not participate. They to have different influence in the society, because they're going to support a lot of people. And if we link the youth people with the new technology and the green technology, you know, to link the youth Roma with the future of the world, because the future of the world is in the new technology. Maybe you know the research that the 70% of the profession, the future profession, are still not discovered. And we should focus there on this profession, on this 70%, not in the traditional skills and the historical skills of the Roma community. We should focus in the future in this 70% profession that was not discovered. And if we link the youngest working population in Europe with the future of the labor market, this is going to have the strategic dimension, the strategic development of the Roma community, and this is going to support the Europe, the development of Europe at all. This is my philosophical and what I start to work and what I'm doing my line of work.
Can I add something, Zameer?
Yeah, go
Can I
ahead.
add something?
Yeah, please.
About the question you put, the capitalization of Roma leaderships. We have so many examples in the West European countries. As a person living in different European countries the last 15 years, we see that the Roma move to West European countries. There is necessary only 2 or 3 years just to be included in the labor market, the children to go in the school and to be totally and fully integrated in the society in this European country. That means that there the problem is something in Europe and in East Europe especially. That in this question you put the capitalization, we can take these examples from the West European countries. There is so many of them. The Roma people are including in labor market, and the same things we can do in Bulgaria. Yeah, Nikki.
Peter, I understand the question. I understand the question in different way. You know, I understand the capitalization in different way. We can capitalize. You know, if we can capitalize in the Roma expertise, in the Roma history, in the Roma development, you know, about the future development. And you know, we should stay. And one of the main problems is that we don't study. You know, we are acting post factum. You know, we are acting. You know, now we have forced eviction across Bulgaria. We have in the last 3 months we have done 500 houses that was forced evict. A lot of families are on the streets. They're without houses and so on. You know, and we start to react now. I think that we like a Roma leadership, you know, we should start to think strategic. And you know, this is the capitalization that we should have we should change the mindset. You know, we should realize that until this moment we was post-reactive. You know, now we should start to work in advance. Based on our history, based on our capitalization, we should see what we have on the market. And we have a lot of great experience, but good experience. You know, we have alliance. You know, we have alliance C. We have so good initiative in India, and we don't know about this initiative. So many good people across Europe. We should build on this, and we should build a strategic alliance. And you know, we should start to create the future of the Roma community. This is for me the capitalization, not the simple integration of the Roma. This is going to come because you know, if we like leadership or Roma leadership, if we prepare our future generation for the uh, for the future labor market, you know, Europe cannot avoid these people. You cannot oppress these people because Europe cannot live without these resources. You cannot. We should turn our youth population. This is the capitalization. We should build on this that this is strategic resource. We have the 40% of the youngest working population across Europe. How we can capitalize on this? We can capitalize on this if we have the right investment on this 40%. If we invest in the right direction, this is going to become very strong instrument in the future in our head, like leadership. Because the labor market, we are going to be unavoidable working factor in the labor market, and this is the capitalization. This is how I understand the question. I don't know, Mr. Anwar, what you have in mind, but this is how I understand the question.
Thank you very much, Nikolay, and I thank you, all of you, for this interesting and participatory conversation. And on behalf of Center for Roma Studies and Cultural Relations and Indian Council for International Cooperation, I extend sincere thanks to all the participants who spared their, the valuable time. And I request also for your future, your participation in future lecture and the future activities of the center. And I again extend my thanks and sincere thanks to our speaker today, Nikolay, for his wonderful, informative, knowledgeable presentation. And he pointed out very important and serious and significant issues, challenges, concerns of the community, and even the future vision that how the Roma youth can be trained, and what kind of alliance, strategic alliance with India and other like-minded groups or the people in Europe or beyond. So thank you very much, Nikolay, for this wonderful and riveting presentation, and equally important for all the participants for their valuable participations, remarks, comments, and questions, for making this lecture more interesting and more informative. I again request all of you to please participate in our future activities. And thank you very much, all of you, and have a wonderful weekend. And thank you very